Alright, we are back painting some more models. So we're finishing up Rhodri and the Household Guard. We did end up, I already showed this kind of to people as we've been painting. A couple of things we've been doing with him. But main thing is we put a wash on to the Household Guard unit. So we got his banner done. We got a wash on the models that we painted this afternoon. We're going to finish them up tonight. Alright, so we're going to start with just getting some of the highlights, and then we're going to work on these swords. The swords are going to take us probably the most amount of time, just because we're going to do kind of this cool, going to try a non-metallic metal look on them. There we go. So that's going to be our goal as we're kind of working on these guys. We should be able to get pretty close to finishing them up. So hopefully everybody's doing all right. If you are watching, you can look at our conversation in the comments. I will probably send this to a couple places here in a second. Because once again, I just kind of start streaming like, oh yeah, people might want to know what we're doing. So let's do that real quick. There we go. Cool. Slide that over so we can see. Boom. Finish up our house god. Alright. Yeah, really, I'm gonna like the way that these dwarves look when they're all kind of together. Just because they got a really cool look to them. I mean, if you like any kind of fantasy, then you're probably a fan of kind of the way that dwarves and elves and all this stuff looks when it's painted up. Okay, you don't have a lot of blue on you, do you, filler? Okay. Excuse me, guys. Alright, let's get the gray, because we don't have a lot of gray. I'm getting some of the smaller colors kind of out of the way. That way we don't have to worry about them. Get our gray bearded dude out of the way. Could you? Yeah, so just kind of building up the layer on this guy. Like I said, always a go-to for me is to wash down the colors, but then build them back up with the same color and then highlight with a brighter color. It's kind of like an easy, quick process in kind of just building up your colors. Okay. Alright, let's get the red. Yeah, and like I said earlier on the first stream when I put the base colors on these guys, I am going to continue painting 40K stuff tomorrow. So those of you that have been enjoying checking out some of that 40K stuff, check in with me tomorrow. We'll definitely be painting some more 40K. Red beard. Yeah, this female dwarf's really cool. Been enjoying painting her up. It's interesting because you can tell she's still a dwarf, but just the fact that there's like no beard just really kind of throws you off. You're like, oh, she's a squatty, but no beard. Cool. Yeah, she's just a cool model. Just gonna laugh at people that don't like dwarves. Like, what? They're awesome. Alright. Got red, got that, got gray, got blue. What do we want to do? I think we're going to go with this brighter red. My son put this. God, I hate it when he paints on my stuff. Because it didn't put it back. Alright, highlight with this brighter red. Just doing a little dry brushing on this because I want to leave some of that darkness kind of in there just to give it kind of that depth. Yeah, usually highlighting up this bright can be, like, a lot of people don't like it. But we want that brightness. Because we're actually going to build that up to an orange. So at least on their hair and stuff, we definitely want it that bright. And then on their cloth here, we can go ahead and just do it up to a red. Yeah, I was hoping to get on a little earlier, but I actually had to let these models sit because I had them in a wash. Like the girl off of Brave. Except for not a squatty. Not a little dwarf. I don't know what got it started, but red's definitely my favorite color to paint. I mean, it's my favorite color in general. And maybe since it's my favorite color, I just have used it the most or painted with it the most, where I'm just like, yep, I'm just comfortable painting with that. Don't know. Okay, don't want to do skin tone. Well, let's just go into the orange for the hair. It's not this guy because obviously you don't have it. Some of this fiery orange hair. I'll come back and highlight that here in a minute. I want that to kind of dry a little bit. Surprise. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Okay. Cool. Let me do their skin now. Alright. Let's highlight that up a little bit. Had to check to make sure. I'm like, this is a little lighter than it looks like. Old Kislev flesh. Kislev is actually pretty interesting. If you haven't, so Warhammer Fantasy Fluff is where this Kislev name kind of comes from. So Kislev was, think of it as like they had city-states for the Empire, which was like the realm of men. So in the northern wastes, you had chaos. So the Empire was basically charged with making sure chaos didn't, you know, take over the realms of men. So one of the city-states of men was called Kislev. It didn't quite belong to the Empire because they kind of were in the cold doing their own thing. But they kind of did their own thing. They were allied with the Empire, but they kept their independence. And they were the city-state that basically held the northern chaos tribes to themselves. So they were kind of like almost the Night's Watch, where they're the ones that watch the wall, if you will. So that's where this Kislev flesh name kind of comes from. Anybody that was curious. Let's see, am I ready for these weapons? Let's do this gray mixed with some white, just because. When you're doing kind of these gray beards, you want to leave some of the gray visible, but you also want a bunch of like bold white highlights, just because they're gonna stick out and it's gonna look pretty good once you got it painted up there. And then you can just leave it. All right, so we're gonna kind of go to our almost last phase here, where I really want to work on these swords. So there's kind of this method that they have for, I need my palette. So you need like a blending palette. It's easier with droppers. I'll try to do it here so you guys can kind of see it. But basically what you want to do is you need a white and you need your darkest color. So in this case, we do have a little bit of black that we're mixing with our dark blue. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to get our brush full of this dark blue. There we go, kind of do it over there. So we're going to get a bunch of that, and we do want it to be darker, so we're going to get some black. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll our brush kind of in this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take just the point of our, we're just going to get a little white on the tip of that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do basically a point. We're going to do kind of this feather effect. Sorry. Try to get this so you guys can see it a little better. Paint fucking everywhere. Alright, so we're going to do this kind of feather effect on the sword where we're going to hit the white. I'll make sure that you guys can see this. And then as we pull it back, it starts to kind of fade away. So when we do a large chunk of this, and eventually the white's going to kind of go off of the tip of our paintbrush here, and we're going to be left with this kind of blue. Okay. So we want to kind of keep going with that, keep filling our brush up. Okay. See how it kind of blends into that. And eventually we're going to take a hard kind of white line to this as well. Because we do want to make sure we keep kind of the line. Where we have like these hard edges. We do need to let that dry a little bit, but we'll do it on the same side. Or we'll do the same thing, opposite side. Alright, so let's go ahead and make sure we got dark on there. We'll do the same thing here where we kind of feather. We'll start on that point. I'll work back to this blue. Okay. And then just want this white effect on the edges. Okay, sorry, this takes a little bit of concentration just to make sure we aren't messing that up too much. Alright, let's see what we're kind of looking at there. So, got kind of this cool effect going where it's starting to blend into it. This one needs to be a little bit better. And that's the thing when you kind of do this, you just got to kind of mess with it. Yeah, this side's blended a little better. Alright. And I think I like that blend. I think I'm just gonna highlight some white just on the tip of that. Yeah, this is tough because this is the part that just, you kind of just got to mess with. Get blended up to that, and I think that's about as good as I'm probably going to get it. Clean this line up a bit. Okay. Okay, I think these lines kind of look weird, so I'm actually going to kind of go over them. So kind of blend back up into that. There we go. All right, let's try a little something here. And notice I'm pretty much spending more, like, the amount of time on this sword. I'm spending more time on the sword than I did kind of the blade, right? All right, come on. Yeah, anytime you do this kind of non-metallic blending, it definitely takes a little bit of work. Is that what I want? I almost want like kind of this kind of going across. It's gonna blend. I don't know. Let's try a little something on this side and see how it looks. Like if, and the thing is, like if I can figure out how to get this guy right here, the other ones will kind of be a lot easier. There we go. I actually think that might look cooler. Okay. So let's try that on the front side here. Okay, I think we got kind of our... And kind of the problem when you do these kind of swords, and you want to do this like non-metallic metal kind of look, is each sword's kind of very different. So you kind of just gotta feel it out, right? Okay. Okay. I think we're kind of getting those at an interesting spot where I think I'm good where that is. And I think I know how I want to do it. And now I just got to hit these high points with the white. Because we want to make it look like it's almost shining in certain parts. And then on the hard edges, like the edge of the blade, and then a little nick right there. All right. All right, I think I'm good to call that kind of what we're going to do with these swords. And I think now that I got it, I can make the other ones a smoother transition. Because we'll do the upper blade fade, and then this lower part of the blade fade up. Okay. So like I said, this just takes kind of like a lot of blending and kind of just like, oh, does this look right? And then just kind of getting to a point where you're like, okay, we're good. Okay. Kind of getting there. Alright, we're getting general kind of corners and stuff down. Kind of hard to get this spot behind that, but Mr. Prohaska. Hopefully you guys are kind of learning something from this like wet blend that I got kind of going on. Alright, we're kind of getting there. Like I said, there's just, when you're doing this, especially when you're me, you gotta think how you're doing this, because for me, I'm not trying to, I know you guys can't see this, but I'm not trying to spend all night doing like just the swords like this, right? So we just want it to look pretty good. And I think we kind of were accomplishing that effect. Because I was talking to one of my friends who's my artist, Dennis, that was on the paint stream with me, and we were talking about kind of, you know, non-metallic metals and blending and highlighting, and there's a certain point that you get to where you can keep going, you can keep trying to, you know, make it the most perfect paint job ever. But you just got to realize that there's just a lot of times when it's like, you want to know what? It's like, this is good. It's a good kind of spot to be in. So we'll call it good there. So that's kind of the same thing that I'm doing with this non-metallic metal. It's just like, just keep kind of paint it up. And eventually get to a point where you're like, yep, this is good. We're calling that good. And this is also another, like this non-metallic metal kind of paint scheme. This is one of the easier ones that I kind of found, and I was like, sure, we'll do that one. There's a bunch of other ones where it takes a lot more time. Did that up there. Alright. So we need to switch that. Ah, come on. Do. Okay. Let's say we're getting there. We're starting to kind of get in a groove with this. The problem is there's just not a great kind of fast way to do it. Okay. And we gotta come back. There's so many angles with this. Because you're like, oh, I gotta do this, and then, oh, I gotta hit that angle. But yeah, kind of feather it. Cool. Kind of getting this down a little bit. Yeah, because the problem is, like, there are certain points where you want it to be, like, almost like a hard line. But then there's other points where it's like, no, we need this to kind of blend. So it's just kind of a weird mix. Okay, I think we just want these hard kind of highlights. So much just kind of blending and reblending, and no, that was too dark. Oh no, that's too late. Okay, I think she's pretty good. We'll kind of give a good overview of all the swords in the banner with this non-metallic stuff when we're done with it, but I kind of just want to go through them and just kind of get my general kind of paint scheme down with it as far as the non-metallic, and then we'll kind of go from there. Just kind of like I said, getting in a spot here where trying to get everything done. So I'm going to try to get this in the basing. We'll blend that more as we get done with each corner. I don't know, Eric, how late are you staying up? Assuming you're still listening. Said it's hard to, because usually I can talk while I'm painting, but with this, definitely a lot more challenging. If you're paid for a couple more hours, you must not be working tomorrow. Alright, we need more of that. There we go. Come on. This guy with his last sword is killing me. There we go. Yeah, part of this is like, oh man, I don't even know if some of this is going well on the camera because I'm just trying to figure. There we go. Okay. Now let's highlight that white. Are you guys done for the year? Just kind of curious because we are still going for a bit. Cool, man. All right. Well, I think I'm going to call this pretty much good. Just put kind of like a neck right. I'm just going to blacken that up at the base a little bit. And then really we just have our kind of banner here that is also a sword. Okay. Alright, so we'll do this we'll do this banner and then we'll show off kind of like what we got going on here. And then we'll show you kind of how I do a quick easy snow base. And then we're done with these guys, and they're, like I said, this isn't the best non-metallic metal kind of deal, but turns out okay for what it is. Alright. Let's say, what are you painting, Eric? Ooh, still painting up those Avengers, huh? The old Crisis Protocol. That's cool, man. Might actually be playing some Crisis Protocol here sometime pretty soon. These bigger swords. You know, once I get these swords done, it'll be easier for me to kind of talk about what I'm doing. Right now it's kind of, because it's weird when you do this, you got to kind of be like, okay, let me put this down here. Okay, let's play that down there. We just got to kind of blend this together. And we'll come back over and we'll highlight it. It's just kind of a bit nutty. See, we're starting to get kind of a cool, I like the blend effect down here better. Alright, we might be finally getting somewhere with this. Okay, let's try kind of some hard. Alright. Okay, that's kind of cool. Alright, I think I'm going to kind of leave it like that. It's kind of an interesting look to it. I'm just going to need this front. So you're gonna have to do another paint party sometime soon, Eric. Yup. Okay. Okay. I think we're ready for the white highlights on the front of that. Alright, let's kind of give this a hard highlight and we'll see what we look like. And then we'll get ready to base this. Okay, I think we're good. Okay. All right, so let's see kind of what we look like here. And then we're gonna base this. So, and these are, like I said, far from perfect, not the best non-metallic metal, but something that looks different. It's gonna look cool with these snow-based models. So this is kind of what we ended up with our banner. Like I said, you can play with this kind of stuff a lot more too, but eventually you just got to kind of settle with what you got, and I think they give it kind of a cool fade effect to it. And the squad's going to look pretty cool and unified with their kind of cobalt steel weapons. So, alright, we're going to do a really easy kind of basing with these guys. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to use this kind of ice blue here. And all we're going to do is we're just going to paint this surface blue, because when we put this snow effect on there, we want it to kind of not just be white, and if we don't have a color underneath it, it's usually going to end up just kind of brown. So this blue kind of gives it a nice kind of icy snow look. Okay. Yeah, snow is really easy to base. So if you got any kind of theme where you're like, snow would be pretty decent looking, you can put gravel underneath snow and it'll give it texture and you can build it up. I did that with Half Tusk. When I painted him up, I actually put sand underneath him. And it, you can make it look more interesting. These dwarves, I decided just to do snow because it just looked cool. Just to be standing in snow, nothing else detracting from the model. Okay, and the last guy with the blue base. Alright, so we got these kind of blue base going on here. I'll show you Rhodri just so you can kind of imagine what's going on here. Because I gotta let this dry for a minute because you don't want to put that on there while it's wet. So Rhodri did the same thing with him, and you can see the snow. You kind of have this blue kind of undertone and tint. I like it because it really goes with the model. All right, so whew, hour and a half of painting. Like I said, I feel like I got the dwarves done really fast, and then I tried the non-metallic thing, and I've probably been messing with that for maybe 40 minutes. I don't even know how long you were on there, Eric, while I was working on the non-metallic parts of the blades. But man, I was just kind of, all of a sudden I looked up, like I've been messing with it for a minute. I looked up and I saw that. You're like, yeah, they are weird. I was like, what? Didn't even know you were in here, Eric. Yeah, all I'm going to use is just this kind of GW snow. And I have to layer it probably 2 times on these guys. There's my glue. Actually, go get some new glue. I'm actually running out. I'll let that go for a minute. Why is it so dark? Plus they're dwarves. Who doesn't like dwarves? Alright, so should be roughly good to put this on here. So I'm just going to okay, and all we're going to do is we're just going to throw a bunch of snow on there. And literally you just kind of shake it off. And after layer 1, it's going to kind of look like that. Sorry, I got this snow really sticks to your hands. So it's going to look like that, where it's kind of really thin. So I'm going to let that dry for a minute. I'm going to kind of go through all of them. Then I'll come back and do my second layers on them. And it's okay if you get this stuff like on the model's boots, because you're in the snow. So it's okay. Go to tap. Like I said, it's not going to cover everything the first time around. But the main thing is you want to get a good solid layer on there. And then you can build it up. I use super glue when I do my basing. Other people use PVA or Elmer's glue. And I have used Elmer's glue before. It works just fine on stuff like this. If you're talking more like sand, then I might think about using something else. Basing can actually sometimes be some of the toughest parts of a model. Luckily over the years I just found out the tricks I like to use when it comes to basing. So I know if I want like a sand look, how to make my base, if I want a snow look. Usually when it comes to snow, you just need to find some flock that's halfway decent. Alright, we'll kind of let that dry for a second, then we'll go back through. And we'll keep working on it. Rhodri. Add our second layers. So you can see I got kind of like these patches here, and it's kind of thin, and you can see more of the blue. So we're just going to kind of add more glue. It's okay if it kind of piles up. Take that. It's okay if it even gets on the model. That's the beautiful thing about slow snow. There we go. So it's kind of what our snow bases are looking like. Beautiful. Yeah, because that second layer is going to give it its kind of like depth, like it looks like there's a lot of snow. Makes it look really full, and it'll settle down a little bit. That's why you want to kind of want it to look that way, because as the glue kind of dries, it'll settle down, so it won't have as much volume as you're kind of seeing it now. Really running out of glue. Two more dwarves. Come on, you can do glue. I'm gonna blow up my computer. I got this stuff kind of going all over the dang place. Alright, one more dwarf. Come on. Come on, glue, you can do it. Alright, cool. So we'll take a look, and then we be done. I might do some minor highlights just on like the hair and some other things. But like I said, I want to kind of wrap the video up and just kind of see what everything looks like together. All right. We got Rhodri in the crew. So let's take a look at Rhodri once again. So I've showed him off a bunch of times, but just so people that are coming back and looking at this video can really get a good look at him. Yeah, I gotta go back and paint their eyes too, but like I said, we'll get that. All right, so that's Rhodri. That was my first attempt at non-metallic metal. Okay. Got this banner. This is one I kind of heard the most from, but it actually doesn't look too terrible as far as those really quick, harsh highlights. Okay, first follower of the household god. Not bad. Second one, old graybeard. And then the lady guard. Not bad. So, yeah, let me know what you think about the non-metallic metal, how I did on it, maybe some tips on how to just kind of blend it a little better. I think that's the thing that takes most time, is you can literally sit there for hours and just blend it. Crap, I need to blend it darker now, darker. Oh, I need it lighter. And yeah, you can just go back and forth on that a lot. So that's one of the things I don't know if I'm going to do it again. I'll see what it looks like on the table when I got a light on it. Because you know how it is. Anytime you get it on the table in the store, it looks very different. But yeah, I enjoyed painting these guys. The non-metallic metal swords came out interesting. They look good. I don't know if I'm happy with them looking like metal, but they look like some kind of unique sword, which I'm all a fan for. But yeah, we're going to keep painting some Godtear stuff. Tomorrow, though, we are going to paint up these Nurgle Marines. So it's going to be very similar to, I painted up those drones, the Blight drone and the Terminator. So we're going to do the same paint scheme on these guys. So it's just going to be, the problem is the wash usually slows down, but I'll do a stream and I'll just kind of stream straight through for like a couple hours until we'll finish them up. Because I got time tomorrow. Just got to finish my grade book. But make sure that you guys subscribe, share, keep hitting that like button if you want notifications when we're streaming, because a lot of times I'll just stream randomly, and that way you guys can get the notification and be aware of when I'm streaming and just hang out and chat. And yeah, just keep rolling dice and throwing salt. See y'all next time.